Broads Media.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Broads. This is going to be a very strange pod for me because I am pissed that we're dealing with another meniscus injury with Joel Embiid, yet I am so happy and so juiced thinking of Tyrese Maxey's 51 last night in Utah. Those threes were outrageous. And oh, by the way, he gets his all-star nod. So I want to make sure that Tyrese Maxey gets the appreciation and the love that he deserves, but I can't remove that black cloud that is covering Joel Embiid wherever he walks, no matter if he's at the Jersey Shore, no matter if he's in Center City, if he's at a local park with Arthur. There's something that's following him that won't allow for him to be healthy, and unfortunately, that's going to outweigh the cool Tyrese Maxey story, whether it's right or wrong. So we'll start with the big man, and here we go again. I don't know. I just keep getting all these comments and all these text messages from family, and my cousin as one of his best friends is in the medical field, and they're trying to give me a diagnosis and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, regardless on how bad it is, or maybe it's not as brutal as it's being led on to be, reality is we are now sitting here waiting for the postseason, and yet once again, Joel Embiid has an injury. And we could try our very best to pretend like it's not a big deal, and maybe it's not torn like Shams is reporting, and every other mouthpiece is saying that it's just a meniscus injury, not necessarily torn, but then Shams somewhat doubles down, and I find it interesting, his wording, after he deleted his original tweet that said torn, and he said this: "To clarify an earlier tweet, the team has not officially confirmed a tear and says that Joel Embiid will remain out through the weekend while a treatment plan is finalized." So that's almost somewhat saying, yeah, the Sixers aren't going down that path and confirming it, but this is what I'm hearing. And I wouldn't be surprised if Shams is right after all this. Maybe he's not. I don't know. Maybe I'm going down with the doomsday scenario and everything's all bad and I can never feel optimistic about a Joel Embiid injury. So whatever the worst news that I hear is, I'll probably run with that until proven otherwise. I won't lie to you. That's probably my mentality that I'm working with subconsciously. But how can you not? Because even if he doesn't need surgery and he's back in a month or he's back in a few weeks, I've seen him dominate with a meniscus problem before, but now that becomes the talking point. Now that holds them back. You'll be very uncomfortable. You're basically playing with a limited version of Embiid. I don't want to go through that experience again, so nothing will make me feel better. Even if they go out there and publicly state that it's only going to be a 2-week thing, and I don't expect that to be the case, but I'm just laying out for you how down I am, that even if we get news that it's only a couple-week thing and he'll be back, and I don't expect it, but I still will just be so gutted that we are here. Nothing will change this. And I guess my mentality moving forward, if you put me in the Sixers organization making decisions, is I don't want to see him again until we're a week or two away from the playoffs so he can gear up. I don't care anymore. The seeding doesn't matter to me because it's irrelevant if Joel Embiid is not the best that he could be capable of. And I don't want him going out there to play regular season games 71, 62, 53, and giving it maximum effort where he's diving on the floor for loose balls and someone's jumping on his leg and then that's causing him to be in a bunch of pain. I don't need to see that. I believe the best case scenario moving forward would be just rest his ass, don't ask him to do too much, get the meniscus as great as it could possibly be based off of where we are with this predicament, and then we'll give it our best shot when the playoffs come around. And I don't have high expectations anymore when he's dropping 70 plus, when he's dropping 62, when he's pumping up 48, then, I feel awesome, even though you could tell that he wasn't 100% at that time. It was never as gross as trying to explode off the floor and jump, but your body doesn't work with you, therefore you collapse to the ground. That's what we witnessed his last time when he laced up his shoes. It was never that bad, okay? He might be slow and mopey and trying to get up and down the floor, and you could tell something's bothering him, but never where it actually stops him in his tracks. And yet somehow, some way, the Sixers still let him compete. I'll never comprehend it. I can't even trying to justify it. It makes zero sense. I just need to know what more they had to see before maybe they made an executive decision to get his ass on the bench or to put him back in the locker room so we could stop the bleeding, essentially, right? What more? If it's not falling on his knees because he can't jump, what else is it? And unfortunately, I think the narrative's got to him. I truly believe that it was all the talking heads and it was all the Denver Nuggets fans, and shame on the Sixers for allowing that to dictate their decision-making. But how could it not be part of the equation? Originally, I thought maybe it was more of they want to keep up pace in the standings because the Knicks are starting to win and the Cavs are jumping you and you're starting to slip. But reality is there was so many people calling him out on a personal level. He tried to prove them wrong, and the Sixers allowed for him to do that. I can't believe Nick Nurse allowed for him to do that. It's a disgrace, and it truly is malpractice from every single angle that you look at it, and now we are here, and it sucks. So this was Shams, who was talking about sort of the path that the Sixers were taking and what Joel Embiid was doing with doctors to try and get an understanding of what's happening with his knee.
So I think the people that I've spoken to in Philadelphia, I don't think they're thinking he's going to be back, in the next few days. This is something where they need to really figure out what's wrong with that knee. Joel Embiid is meeting with a good amount of doctors tonight, tomorrow.
Of course he's talking to a lot of doctors. He's talking to 3, 4 different guys, trying to get all these different opinions. And I get it. That's what you're supposed to do. But if you're doing that, what's it telling you, right? I mean, think about it. If things were good news, are you getting 5, 6 different opinions? Absolutely not. Anytime I hear, especially from the Sixers organization and the Sixers medical staff, anytime that I hear something along the lines of, we will reevaluate in a couple of days and we'll give you more information 48 hours down the road, more times than not, you're getting a disgusting, disgusting response, and it's not going to be good. And that's why I knew when it was quiet and we weren't getting much on the Embiid front that it would either be a Friday news dump or it'll be a timely report. And of course, here it is, separated right between the Tyrese Maxey All-Star stuff to try and lessen the blow. And it kind of worked because I have a bunch of wholesome content from Maxey, and that's normally not my thing, all right? I'm normally not one that gets all goo-goo gaga over a guy playing NBA basketball. But when you see the natural reaction of Tyrese Maxey, how excited he is, how pumped he is, talking about his family, screaming, his mom super excited, the phone calls that he's gotten, and, he even had an impersonation, or he was doing a reenactment of Joel Embiid and what he sounded like. It's great stuff. There's nothing better. All right, so yeah, the Tyrese Maxey smile and the Sixers' agenda of trying to lessen the blow by working their magic and timely throwing out the news about Joel, it did work to a little degree, and Tyrese had their back because that 51-point performance actually did give me a little bit of excitement. I enjoyed it. I was so hurt, and when he's knocking down 6 threes to get the night started before he's even missing shots. He's pulling up from 90 feet. He's step back three, putting guys on ice skates, dominating at will. I'm like, damn, dude, Maxey's feeling himself. I remember when I committed to play college hockey, that first practice and that first game when I was playing juniors after I made the decision to go to Stevenson University and to pursue the college hockey dream, there was something that just gives you a boost and an adrenaline rush knowing that you did it, man. You had a goal, you set your goal out, and then you accomplished your goal by working your ass off and getting there. So you're flying around the ice for the first time in practice, and that stress and all that pressure of, you know, are you going to take that next step? Are you not? It's a little different than being named an all-star or not, but just the fact that I remember that time skating around the ice for the first time since making the announcement, there is just something different that hits you the moment you touch that ice. And I could imagine that Maxey, when he had the ball in his hand, said, I'm going to put on a show. All right, this is going to be electric. And he got some help because Pat Bev hit a big-time three late. Tobias did his thing. Free throws down the stretch. That's nice. And by the way, you know a guy named Springer, not Jerry Springer, but you got Springer playing defense on Clarkson and put the clamps down. He put that dude through hell. He was struggling to find the basket. My guy, Springer, how electric is that? But it was nice to see the team effort. And look, is it sustainable for Maxey to pick up 51 with Embiid off the floor, and now he's your number one, and teams can really attack and put all the pressure on him and, you know, dare him to do certain things because there's no threat of Joel Embiid? Yeah, it's hard to sustain it. And I remember there was a caller who said, it's time to trade Joel Embiid. This was Wednesday night. Time to trade Joel Embiid. We need to run this whole thing through Maxey. Maxey's going to be the one to take us to the NBA championship. And I love Tyrese Maxey to death. But this individual claimed that Maxey's the best player on the Sixers and you don't need Embiid. And I'm expecting over the weekend that this individual might call back in to prove his point after that awesome night in Utah. And there's no surprise to me that Maxey can dip into his bag and score 51. It doesn't surprise me. But Joel Embiid just scored 70, and he averages how much? And he does this on a night-to-night basis. Maxey would have to do this every single day to reach Joel Embiid's level right now. That sounds as if I'm knocking Tyrese Maxey. That's not the case whatsoever. When this kid is 28, 29, 30, 31, grown man's league, and I'm not really stressing that you have to wait because no one has that level of patience. I get it, but I'm just telling you that how this league operates, when you get to your late 20s, it's go mode, and that's championship caliber mode. Yeah, he's going to be a dynamic weapon, and he's going to be at the top of the league, and I can see him constantly getting all-star votes, and he really will develop and take that next step because all he does is live in the gym, and there's no doubt about it. But for right now to act as if, that he can do what Joel Embiid does on a night-to-night basis is downplaying the greatness of Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is the greatest player on planet Earth right now. Tyrese Maxey's an all-star. There is a big-time separation on those two, and I got to admit that Tyrese Maxey did do some cool things over the last 24 hours that definitely takes away the pain. But whenever I go back to think about it, the pain hits me pretty instantly, and then I realize, yep, we're right back to where we started, which is another season of Joel Embiid and another season of suffering because he's injured. And I'm not blaming him. I'm not saying that it's his fault. I'm not saying, although I do think this one's his fault more than other ones, because you just got to recognize I can't be out on the floor right now. My body is not up to the standard where I can generate enough and I can have the explosiveness and I can score and all that good stuff. He was so brutal. How do you not realize it? I don't like how he approached this one, but all the injuries in totality, it's not his fault, but it's the storyline, and it's real, and you can't run away from it. It's every single season, and I don't know if there's any news that will be relayed to the fans that will put me in a different mental state, because even if he's limited, but he can still go out there, what does that do for me right now? It's every season, and every season they have been held back because of physicality. physically he's not able to stand by the end of the year, or he's got a mask on and he can't see as well, or something else. Enter something here that's about to happen. Now, every time I mention that I want to sort of take this laid-back approach and give him his time to regroup and recalibrate, I keep getting pushed back with this. Well, if they don't have Joel, they might not even make the playoffs. They might be in the play-in. Guess what? I think that's a risk you have to take, because if you push Embiid to his very, very edge just to make the playoffs, then you have a useless Joel Embiid anyway. And I think what you need to do is almost reset. I know it's a hard sell to punt the season when Joel's having his best year and his shooting is unbelievable. It is so efficient. It's outrageous, and he's not going to want to take the rest of the year off. The guy's a competitor, and he wants to take the floor. I get that. But this is where you have to really rely on the people you pay a lot of money to make sure that these players don't hurt themselves or put them in a position where they're not doing what's best for their career. The player might have on the blue and red and white colored goggles because he just wants to win a championship for the Philadelphia Sixers, right? So that's all that's in his mind. Someone has to remove those goggles for him and do what's right for him. For him. And what's best for him might be to put him on the shelf for the year. And I'll take that calculated risk, because if he's so broken down by the end anyway, then does it matter if you're the 6th seed or 5th seed? If Joel is playing at a 40% clip? Not really. I think you got to see where it goes and see what you can do. And maybe your team steps up. Maybe they have Joel Embiid's back and they support him and they can hold their own more respectfully than you're giving them credit for in the regular season. It's not impossible to think that they could win some NBA regular season games, because come on, it's the NBA regular season. These guys aren't going out there and leaving it out nonstop. You can't go beat a couple teams playing LA Fitness style without the big man. I think it is very possible if Tobias is stable and someone has a good night off the bench that can help with the push, and maybe we start getting guys back. DeAnthony Melton is the name. I know people are looking forward to the Robert Covington thing. People are a little banged up. Can you hold your own with some returning eventually? Maybe I'm asking for too much. Maybe I'm reaching. I don't know. I'm just trying my best to try and think about what they have to do here, you know? Like, I'm just trying to think about their approach all the way. All right, let's get some wholesome content here, all right? Let's put smiles on everybody's faces, because that's what we do around here. So we'll get to the Maxey stuff. But HelloFresh puts a smile on my face every day. I woke up today, the alarm started to pop off at 7:30, and before I even thought about waking up the dogs to let them out back, before I even thought about waking up the baby Brooklyn and making sure she gets her breakfast, I thought about HelloFresh. All right, what is HelloFresh? It's farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes that get delivered right to your doorstep. So you get to skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and even way more affordable. That's why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. Now, right now, they have something going that you just can't miss out on. They're giving away free breakfast for life. You heard me correctly. Free breakfast for life. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and when your subscription is active with HelloFresh, bada bing, bada boom, there's free breakfast coming right to your home. All right, and listen, free breakfast to subscribers for life. That means you'll enjoy a totally free breakfast item with every single HelloFresh delivery. Now, that's worth waking up for. Also, don't let recipe boredom strike, because HelloFresh has more options than ever before. Dig into their biggest menu yet with over 45 different dinner options to choose from weekly, and even more market add-on items that suit any lifestyle. This is what you need to do. Go to HelloFresh.com/BrodesFree and use code BrodesFree for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/BrodesFree with code BrodesFree. The link is down below in the description. Give it a shot. I'm telling you, it will change your life. And I don't just say that. It's not just me saying that. That is the truth. It is coming from the heart. It is coming from all my experiences. HelloFresh is the greatest thing in the world. You can't screw it up. There's pictured step-by-step cards. Everything's pre-portioned, and it really adds an element of flavor and something new that you're not normally accustomed to doing on a night-to-night basis. So make sure you get started and join the HelloFresh family. Okay, some more wholesome content content is Maxey. Here's Tyrese Maxey talking about when he became the All-Star.
Tyrese, your first All-Star. How do you feel?
Surreal, honestly. This is crazy. Hasn't even soaked in yet. My mom just called me, screaming in my ear. But nah, thank y'all. Appreciate y'all.
How is that not amazing? How is that not amazing? That's normally not my thing. That's not my style. But Maxey, yeah, he hit an emotional nerve of just a proud, I'm the proud father looking at the guy, the son that's been working his ass off nonstop, all the time he put in at Kentucky, all the practice hours with John Calipari, right? And now here you go, you're with Doc Rivers for a little bit of time, Sam Cassell, and you're just working and grinding, and now you're finally an all-star in the NBA at the guard position. It's crazy, man. It's awesome. Here's Maxey in the locker room discussing what it sounded like as Joel Embiid congratulated him.
What did Joel say?
Oh my gosh, you're an all-star. I'm so happy. He just kept screaming. Just telling me congratulations, keep working, and he felt like I deserved it.
I just love that. Maybe I'm corny as hell. I don't know. Like I said, normally not my style, but it hit the emotional strings because I was so hurt and I was in so much pain. And unfortunately, it seems like I'm stuck right now. There is this pattern dating back to the Eagles-49ers game, and I'm sorry if that bothers you that I continuously bring that up. But since that game, we have been through a downward spiral. There really hasn't been much positive, okay? The Flyers go on a 5-game losing skid, and their goaltender is going through some serious legal matters in London, Ontario right now. So that's the Flyer stuff. The Eagles are falling apart in the regular season, lose a playoff game, debate about firing the coach or not, keeping him, but doing it in a very unconventional way, and that's where we are there. Now Joel Embiid is going down with another meniscus injury. The Phillies are staying put while the Baltimore Orioles put together a package after a new ownership group takes over to bring in a Corbin Burns, which is a hell of a statement to the AL East and the Yankees, who are getting all the love for getting Juan Soto. And now this is what we have to deal with. So, I get I'm grasping at straws here because I want to look for positivity. I don't enjoy just screaming 24/7. I know that might come to a surprise for some of you out there that think that I take so much pride in just giving it nonstop and screaming. I don't like that. You know what I enjoy? I enjoy being happy from a sports sense, of course. I enjoy loving the teams. I enjoy cheering and rooting and having excitement and fist pumping and talking about wins and all that good stuff. But right now, when it rains, it truly pours, and you could feel it just through the entire fan base. And it's not just one team in particular. It's all teams currently right now. And it does seem like sometimes that happens. When everything is rolling well, then maybe there's 3 teams of the 4 that have a good trajectory going, and they have some excitement, and things are clicking. And then when it happens to hit rock bottom for maybe just a week or a week, then it starts to be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then a second team has something bad happen, third team, now this person, oh no, what do we do? And why is it always got to be so damn difficult? I feel right now we are stuck big time in the negativity world, and there's nothing we can do about it, right? You can search for positives, and the one is, yes, Tyrese Maxey, and it's kind of where we're at, and it's fun. I like it, and the 51 was great. And I hope he can continue because he makes the Sixers watchable. There's been some nights where they've been unwatchable because current players weren't available, and they're running out lineups where Furkan Korkmaz is logging in 22 minutes. I don't give a damn if he scores 19 points or not. My time spent is for no longer Furkan Korkmaz. I'm done with that damn experience. This guy's been here since 1967. It ain't working. All right? I don't want to see Furkan. So if that man is logging in so many damn minutes, I do not want to take the time out of my night to really pursue watching Sixers basketball. Now, I do anyway, but I'm just saying it becomes more of a watch than a let's go watch. And I don't like the watch. I like the let's go watch. Can Maxey hold it down for us? I don't think it's impossible. Okay, let's go to the Anytime Hotline. And let's hear from Sixers fans out there after a devastating day of some bad news.
Well, That's Philadelphia for you. Philadelphia, the city of heartbreak, collapses, and disappointment. This Embiid thing, he's never going to be respected by the NBA ever again. He will never, ever be respected by the NBA ever again. He will be labeled as a bum because of his injuries. And this situation could have been avoided. And this team is about to get completely exposed without him because they rely so much on him. Daryl Morey, it is not the time to go all in on this team anymore. Your season is over. There is no point. Sell off whatever you can, extend Tyrese Maxey, and move on. I'm frustrated, bros. I'm pissed.
I'm frustrated as well. He'll still have respect. Now, maybe by the end of this thing, he goes down as one of the greatest players to ever exist, but he just wasn't able to stay upright long enough. Or whenever he was in the playoffs, he couldn't get out of that second round, and part of that falls on him. I will not, will not let it slide that Game 7, he sucked. He sucked big time. That was an opportunity to reach the Eastern Conference Finals. And by the way, I know this is somewhat irrelevant and getting off track here, but recently we were walking through the Milwaukee Bucks decision of bringing in Doc Rivers and, what they were doing prior to the move, and then after his first 2 games, they're 0-2, and their points per game went down, and their field goal shooting went down, and I'm not a Doc Rivers hater by any means. Like, I know a lot of these fans in this city are, and they're really ripping to shreds and all this stuff. And yeah, I don't know if his numbers and his win totals really reflect everything and tells the full story of Doc. It probably puts him on a higher pedestal than he deserves. But he's not as bad as what people are saying at the same time. When he was here, he incorporated something with Joel Embiid operating from the nail that won him an MVP. And by the way, he was lights out and led the league in scoring there, and also incorporated James Harden leading the league in assists. And that two-man game was one of the most powerful two-man games in all of the NBA last year. The problem is he doesn't make adjustments from that. He has that plan. It works and it helps you lead, but at some point, you got to find ways to get more creative, and you can't just stick to your guns with that. You have to find ways to incorporate other things when you're in a playoff series throughout 7 games when you're making adjustments nonstop. That Game 6, if Doc Rivers is able to get DeAnthony Melton and a lot of players some wide open looks and, from the perimeter. I know Joel Embiid wasn't touching the ball towards that back half of Game 6 and the ball got sticky with James Harden, but he did find others, and DeAnthony Melton wide open, huge string. The job of the coach is to get those wide open looks for these NBA players. Like DeAnthony Melton wide open, you got to drain that, dude. You got to drain that, and it's just interesting what the discussion would be if that shot was knocked down by a complimentary piece, which I know I don't love relying, on complimentary pieces in big games and big moments. I prefer it to be the MVP of the league. I prefer it to be the top dog. But I've also witnessed Michael Jordan hit Kerr. Okay, there are times where it does need to be someone other than just that guy. Ray Allen with the Miami Heat. Greatest shooter, one of, I guess I have to say now, because Steph Curry has entered the chat. But it wasn't LeBron. It wasn't D. Wade. It was Ray Allen, a complimentary piece. They had that. How I got stuck on this I have no idea. That's because they lost that playoff game, and I wanted Joel Embiid to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. He'll still have respect in this league because everyone is enamored with his skill set. He's a guard and a forward in regards to what he's capable of doing with the basketball. And by the way, has the footwork and the greatness of one of the best centers to ever exist, too. He could go to work with his back to the basket. He does everything that every position does, whether you're a 6-foot guard or a 7'2" big man. This guy does it all. And I think everybody in the entire league respects it. But yeah, it is disappointing that he can't stay healthy. I never thought Daryl Morey should have went all in anyway. So if now is the time to change the perspective if you're Daryl Morey, I never really thought that Daryl Morey should have made anything massive anyway. The name that was brought up on the radio with me was maybe a move like Bogdanovich, a nice complimentary move, but nothing that's going to wow everybody to death. It's no Zach LaVine. It's none of that stuff. No, and I don't want that anyway. You know, could it be a role player like that, or some size and some three-point shooting ability on the wing that maybe could excite you? A move like that. But now, is it more in question because you're just waiting for the Embiid stuff? I guess. I mean, the trade deadline's not going to move because of waiting for Joel Embiid. So, I don't know. I was sort of in the mindset of that's the style of move I want to see anyway, regardless. What's next?
Hey, Rhodes. This is going to be a hot take. It's about the Sixers. I'm sure we'll have another podcast sooner or later about his injury. If we haven't already had, and I didn't see yet, I'll be watching later. This is a hot take.
Uh-oh. Don't
cut me off on this one. Just hear me out. It's time to move on from Joel Embiid. I love him. I love the guy so much. He fits Philadelphia. He's like Allen I. But you know what? Like Brian Dawkins, like Reggie White, like Allen Iverson, we eventually moved on. We had to. The guy is not nearly as old as those players were, but his body is not holding up anymore. At this point, I'd rather get future assets and say thank you for everything that you've done. I will be depressed when it happens, because it will happen. It might not happen this year or next year. But when he hits 32, 33, and his body really starts to wear down, he'll be gone. Thank you, Joel, but I'm done.
Yeah, I'm not done yet because you won't get enough value, right? If we're seeing that he's breaking down, the rest of the league is seeing that he's breaking down. And I'm not giving up on what a ceiling could be of Joel Embiid if I'm just getting back slop. Now, they made the wrong decision to let go Brian Dawkins, by the way. Him going to Denver and all that stuff. That just because they weren't finishing their careers in Philly like maybe we envisioned, it doesn't necessarily mean that was the sharpest idea, right? He did still have some fuel left in the tank, and they whiffed big time. So, you know, I don't like the decision that they made just because they made it. Anyway, I'm not giving up a diminished Joel Embiid just to get rid of him for assets if those assets are not crazy insane. And if you are seeing Joel Embiid break down, why would you give up crazy insane amount of assets for Joel? Because they see exactly what we see. So I know this is sort of an emotional time for us all, and you know, that's just kind of where we're at with it. But I'm willing, as we stand here today, to keep on swinging, and finding ways to adjust throughout the regular season, because that's scary, what Joel Embiid is capable of doing. And I'll take my chances on trying to figure out how to get this thing done, whether it's regular season stuff, manipulating how he's not able to play a lot of regular season games. I don't know what it is. That's not my job to figure it out. But I know I want to keep Joel Embiid here. That is for damn sure. How deep are we into this pod? All right. We're about 32 minutes. All right. We'll close it down. I appreciate everybody for hanging out with me today. I really, really do. Thank you all so much. I love you for the support, and we'll be talking again soon.